Welcome back to another RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite podcast out there. My name is Jerome Jones, your humble host, and right next to me, the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I am great. Listen, not five, not three, not eight, not nine, not two, but one more week. One more week until the draft. I'm feeling good. I can't wait. We're about to talk about my favorite position today. So let's do it. How you feeling, Ray?
I'm feeling good, man. Like you said, like a week from tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Again, my team does not have a lot of picks, so I'm hoping they have something that's going to surprise me with, but we'll find out next week. Because the one thing I will say before we get into player evaluation, everything you hear right now is crap.
Oh yeah. I you just left it like that. I like no, and you're right. It is a bunch of baloney and a whole bunch of smoke, where all that. So yeah, man. Definitely a time of the draft where you got to be very careful of what you're looking at, who you're talking to, what you're hearing, because people just pit out stuff just so a player can fall down or not get selected, and that team kind of like swipe them up. So I mean, and it's been going on for what, like 10 years now, Ray. And maybe even before that, it's just been more publicized. Last, I think, 10 years of, hey, this player, he been smoking weed yesterday or something like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then
I kind of like that stuff. That's how I get good players sometimes. Like
I mean, it helped you guys in a sense. It did help you guys. It helped us too, actually. It helped the Eagles as well. So we'll see. I hope. I heard some things last year where somebody on was it last year? Yeah, last year. Some Reddit poster put on there. Hey, who was the first pick? Carolina is talking to Will Levis. I guarantee he's gonna be the first overall pick. And it's so funny because that was a Reddit post, but like everybody ran and took it. Like it was talked about on the radio, it was talked about on ESPN, on NFL Network, and even though they was taking it with a grain of salt also, but like it's just the fact that it was being talked about so much, and it was just like, and I'm telling you, this was like 2 days right before the draft. So be prepared, have fun with it, be prepared, take it with a grain of salt, because most of the stuff that you're gonna hear, somebody's gonna probably be overthrown in, Caleb Williams. I'm hearing stuff like that actually, which is crazy. I'm hearing stuff like that. I'm hearing a lot of rumors about the second overall pick. I'm hearing a lot of rumors about, what New England's gonna do. So hey, man, it's all rumors until it goes down. I can't wait to. Some of the stuff might be true, which is that's also fun. But it's also like to be like, "Ha, I told you." Oh, you got hopes. So
I do think there's an argument at the quarterback one who will be the second quarterback taken. I don't think there's any way Caleb Williams is not the first quarterback taken. I honestly don't believe that. I think whatever you hear about that and it being anybody but Caleb Williams, that again is smoke. That is just teams not really wanting to let you know.
What I'm surprised. I'm surprised we're not hearing enough about? The Bears trading out of that pick. I mean, that's interesting to hear that, because you always, even if there's a lot guy right there, you always hear this team's still kind of fielding trades right now, blah blah blah. Because teams can technically sign, like if you're the first overall pick, you can sign that player as soon as as soon as the league year starts. You can actually sign that guy. You could technically do that. I think who did that some years ago? They signed the player like 2 weeks or something like that before the draft.
Yeah, that was a quarterback. Yeah. I think it was Alex Smith.
No, it was after Alex Smith, right? Okay. It was the one after that. Alex Smith was one of them. I think it was. I'm trying to think. Was it Cam Newton?
Maybe, I don't know. I remember Alex Smith being signed way before, and that was part of the reason why San Francisco took him, because he was going to be easier to sign than Aaron Rodgers. So
yeah, I think it might have been Cam Newton. Cam Newton might have been the last one to do that. I could be wrong. If our viewers are in here and you know what player I'm referring to, please put it in the chat. As always, this is an open chat podcast, so we'll put your comments on screen if you have some good comments. Obviously, be respectful and keep it PG, keep it football related too. But we do answer other questions as well. But we try to keep it football. All right, let's do it, Ray. Corners, let's do it. Now I'll tell you, Ray, I was struggling. You would think, oh man, I would have a field day. No, I was struggling on this list. And it's because the cornerback position is so deep, right? And I was literally having trouble. I'm like, do I want this guy? No, I want this. I was literally going back and forth. There's a guy that I like. I have, so every year I have a favorite guy, and one of my favorite guys is on a DB position. So I have a favorite guy, and sometimes I try to stick with that guy as much as possible, but also like I try to be realistic as well. So I have a favorite guy that's on this list that I actually wanted him number one, and then I kind of talked myself out of it, which I'm kind of happy about that. And I'll explain who that is in a second. But let's get right into it, Ray. I'm sure you got a 5A and 5B because I certainly do.
I actually don't, Jerome, but it's only because I do. It's a very deep class, but deep. I do think that I could have went a 5B. Maybe I should have. You know what? And I will give you an extra guy here just because there was one guy I liked that who really has been moving up the draft board for some reason, but I'm going to say my 5B is Max Melton from Rutgers. I like him. I like him way more during the season than I did like going after last year. I think he's a kid who does a lot of good things as far as being like handsy and physical at the line of scrimmage, and looks like he could probably play some decent zone coverage too. So he's like a guy I really liked that I didn't like in the beginning of the year, which I saw a really good game. Like he really progressed from like 2022 to 2023. So I thought he was a nice player. And my number 5A would be TJ Tampa from Iowa State. Another kid who's stocky, 6 foot, 190 pounds. I think both of these guys will be like second round picks. But again, it's a very, very deep quarterback class.
Yeah. I'm glad you said Max Melton because he was literally about to be my 5C. I was like, I can't do that. I can't make a 5C because then I'm just making a different list. So that's just too much. So I really wanted to put him in the top 5 class. I really, really, really wanted to. I wound up putting him somewhere else. Kind of compensating for that a little bit, and it kind of fits for that but also his name is getting kind of out there. So we'll get into that later. But my 5B is a guy near and dear to my heart. And typically I wouldn't pick this type of player on my list. But one, he plays his ASS off. And he's a baller. He's a ball hawk. He's a great player. He was a great player for my defense, and that'd be Mikey Simmer still. And the reason why I want to put him on my top 5 is because slot corners are becoming a huge deal now in the NFL, and you have to have a slot corner on the field more than some safeties. So I think having him in there, a playmaker, can play a lot of good zone. Play good man, a little thinner than I would like my corners typically, but this kid's a baller. He's a great leader, good kid. I was very, very disappointed that he didn't go to the Senior Bowl this year because he was literally number 1 on my list for a guy that I wanted to interview. So Mikey Simmer still a guy that, came from playing wide receiver when he first came to Michigan, switched positions, and when he switched positions, the transition was immensely fast, and I think he played some DB in high school, so that kind of helped. But for you to be able to transition as fast as he was and play at a high level I think he only played DB 2 years with the Michigan, and each year he played at a very high level. So I had to pay him my 5B, and then 5A I'm gonna pay Kool-Aid McKinstry, a guy that's been a really good DB. The fact that I have him at five on this list tells you how deep this cornerback list is. I feel like any of these five DBs, I think everybody will kind of have them mixed around everywhere, depending on preference, kind of DB you like. So that's my guy right there. What do you think about those two guys, real quick, Ray?
I like Sam Stoll from Michigan. I think he's a good football player. I think that I'm going to need him to play special teams, which he has played some wide receiver before. So I think he can transition to that. I wish I would have seen him do something.
He plays special teams. He's played special teams with Michigan, and he did some kick return as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen him do some of it. I wish I'd have saw him do a little bit more, maybe. But I think as a slot corner and a good kid who actually, for a guy who's only 5, is pretty physical. Doesn't mind getting in there and tackling guys. So I'm a fan. I think
he'll hit you. Oh yes, he'll hit you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I think he's a good player. I do think in the beginning he'll be a slot. Maybe he can settle in to be a nice solid, even like a boundary corner for you. I do worry about his lack of height, but I mean, there's a spot for those guys. There always are, especially a guy who could excel on a special team.
Correct, man. I'm excited about him. And I don't know what's going on. We both got ESPN alerts going on. So
yeah, I don't know either. I didn't get to see that.
Let's talk about basketball. It's just funny how we both got it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
man.
And
I have McKinstry a little higher than you, so I'm a fan.
Okay. So cool. All right, you can get to the number 4, Ray.
Well, I have Quennel McKinstry at number 4. I think he's I do think that you've seen him play some zone corner at Alabama because they do mix up their coverages somewhat. But I think as a press corner is where he's going to really excel at the next level because he's a long, lanky guy with good, solid speed and good movement skills. Just a little stiff at times, where I think is why I would rather him be a little bit more of a press type of a corner. So,
100%. I agree with you, Ray. I'm gonna throw this out there. Looking at my list and hearing that I had Milton at 5 on yours makes me think that there's somebody on my list you don't have at all. I know Mikey, you don't, but I'm curious to hear the rest of yours. But anyway, number 4, I got Cooper DeJean. Really good cornerback from Iowa. Been playing that position for a while now. I've been kind of keeping my eye on him. I like him a lot. My biggest thing with him is his versatility, his willingness and his ability to play safety as well. He could play, outside corner. You play him a little bit in the slot. I like him a lot with his versatility. Ran a lot faster than I thought he was going to. Very distinctive player. So yeah, I got him at number 4. Again, he's a guy that I can easily have him at number 2. Just kind of mix matching. Yeah, I like these 2 corners are very good. What you think about him?
I'm a big fan of Cooper, but I have him as a safety.
Really? Okay.
I mean,
so that's the part.
That's the guy that you're going to have in your top corners, and I have him as a safety.
Gotcha.
I think that he can play corner. I think that what he is just a versatile defensive back where you can probably line up and let him play anywhere. Yes. I just think that with his physicality, his willing to tackle, and the fact that he can cover pretty much any player on the field, I see him more as a safety. That's all.
Okay. I like it. I mean, hey, man, I think he excel at either spot. I just hope that narrative don't be that narrative. He could definitely play corner. So, I hope that
if you say to me, well, he could definitely play corner, and I don't disagree with you, what is he going to want to do? Because probably make a little more money as a corner than you will as a safety.
Yes, you will. Yes, you do. So, all right. Number 3, who you got, Ray?
I have Nate Wiggins from Clemson at number 3. I do think that Nate Wiggins is a better zone coverage guy than a man guy. Even though he's got good solid length, he doesn't seem to be a guy who wants to tackle all the time. But what he does do is he's a guy who, once he makes his mind up to get him in there, he will tackle you. But he really just wants to let you get receptions and then get you after that. He's not going to. I don't see him as a press guy. He's not physical that way.
Yeah. That's my biggest knock on him. I actually still have him higher than that, but my biggest knock on him is his physicality. I got Terion Arnold at 3. Really good player, Alabama guy. You could tell he's a former Nick Saban guy, very technically sound. I like him a lot. I think that he is the opposite of Wiggins. I think he's more of the man coverage kind of guy that you want over there. So it's kind of like with those two, kind of like pick your poison, who you want, who's better for your scheme, that kind of deal. So I do like that. Ray, who you got number 2?
I have Terion Arnold at number 2. Again, I think, like you said, I think he could probably play either. And Alabama does play some zone coverage, but I think he could do either. But I think as a man guy, he'd be really good at that too. And he's another one who's a little bit like Dijon, where he's just a good defensive back. He's a smart kid and good football player. So
definitely. My number 2 guy is Nate Wiggins. He's the guy that I say he's my draft favorite guy. He's my favorite guy in the draft. I do agree with you. Me and LaMarcus did some tape on him, and we said all great things about him, except that he's not physical enough sometimes. And there's times where he be hip with a guy, and he kind of get out muscled by them a little bit. So I kind of hope that he kind of get a little bit more of that physicality, and I think that's something that can be taught. It's not something that can't be taught. It can be taught, or his willingness to be a little bit more physical. I think that's what it is. But as far as speed, before I even seen him run his 40, I was like, this kid is sticky. He's always in the guy's hip pocket. He's never so. With a guy like that, you're gonna have to throw the ball accurately as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you're gonna beat him. You gotta have a super accurate passer who's gonna get the ball there, because he's always gonna be in somebody's hip pocket, and I like that about him. He's more I've been kind of comping him to the Eagles. I know a lot of people haven't, but the reason I've been doing that is because the Eagles been such a zone corner play, and I kind of hate it, but if you're gonna do it, get the guys for it, and I kind of wish that maybe not now because Slay's a little bit older now, so he might not have that same speed that he used to. But when we first got Slay, I was like, man, we're gonna have a really good man coverage guy, and they've been doing all zone with the guys. So I think that Nate Wiggins kind of fit that mold. I'm not sure if Vic Fangio is gonna do that, and that's kind of been his MO anyways. That zone coverage kind of guy.
He's a heavy zone guy, especially with his defensive backs. And it's funny, I have with Nate Wiggins, I have a Darius Slay as a comp for him.
Hey, nice.
So it kind of works there. I do see where he would fit really nicely in the Eagles' defensive backfield. He would. So
right. Yeah, him being a guy I've been comping the Eagles to grab in that spot for a while now. So hope that's the case. I like him a lot. Again, gotta play a little bit more physical for me. I came from the B-Duck era, watching B-Duck. So I'm always going to want my defense to be a lot more physical. But, I mean, if that's going to be the type of scheme we're going to play, get the best guy that does do that. I think Nate Wiggins is that guy.
Vic Fangio is the king of, I'm going to let you complete passes, and then eventually you're going to make a mistake, and we're going to get the ball back. You know what I mean?
Yep. So we'll see how that defense goes. But let's get to your number 1, Ray. I think we both got the same guy. Who was it?
Sounds that way. Quennel Mitchell from Toledo. Kid has pretty much everything. He's tall. He's got good length. He's fast. He has good hips. He moves side to side very well. And honestly, this is probably the guy that has moved up the quickest as far as corners. He's like, he went from but even like in being here, he was like a second round pick, like a second round grade on, and then he's played better than that this year. Pretty simple.
100%. I have him as well. A Senior Bowl guy. I really wish we got to interview him early on in the process at the Senior Bowl, because once after the second, I don't even think the second practice, after like the first practice, everybody was on him, and it was just hard to get an interview with the guy after that. But to see him out there in real life, I like to watch real life play rather than watching tape and stuff like that. I feel like you get a better feel for how they play, how they react after a play, things like that. I'm telling you, the only times that Mitchell got a catch on him or a touchdown was a extremely well played play. There was a couple times where you seen Brandon Rice. He had to really Brandon Rice, like, I know a lot of people not talking about him and the wide receiver thing as much because first he's a Hall of Famer kid, so he's gonna be compared to his dad a lot. But he was giving it to Quennel Mitchell a lot, but the thing was, when he was doing that, Quennel Mitchell was literally in his pocket, and Brandon Rice had to make an extremely really good catch when he did get him. So for me, that's hard to do. That's hard to get those type of plays every single time against a really good defender, especially if that corner is probably going to have safety help anyway. And in the Senior Bowl, everybody's going one-on-one, so you're gonna get one or two on a guy. Man, you do that in the game when you have safety over him, and you're gonna have to have a spectacular play. So Quennel Mitchell was going crazy. He had an insane one-handed interception in the back of the end zone. Man, this kid, I know there was a lot of hype going into the Senior Bowl, but once I seen him, I was like, yeah, he's a first rounder. He's a first rounder. So shout out to Quennel Mitchell. All right, let's get to our cornerback sleepers now. So guys, if you don't know what this is cornerbacks that people are not talking about enough that we think should be talked about, or we think gonna have a lot of success, maybe a possibility of being a starter. Ray, I'm gonna go first on this one because we kind of talked about him already. Okay. And I'm gonna say Max Milton, Ray, and from the fact that you had him in your top 5, and I am starting to hear some buzz on him, made me kind of feel weird about having him on a sleeper now because his name's starting to get out there a little bit. But an incredible player, obviously his brother Bo Mixon, who played at Rutgers as well, played wide receiver for the Packers. I think all around Max is better than Bo. All around, I think Max as a football player. And Bo's a good player, and he was
like stiffer though, a little stiffer than Max. Max is a little bit more fluid.
Correct.
I think he just moves side to side a little bit better than his brother. That's all.
Yes. So I think that's going to be fun to see him in the NFL. He's going to be a guy. I think he's going to eventually become a starter. He might have to take the center route a little bit, but he's going to eventually be a starter. My other sleeper, another Senior Bowl guy that Ray, do you remember who was probably the hottest name at the Senior Bowl as far as wide receivers?
I don't remember that, Jerome.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
Everybody was going crazy about him. It was a lot of tweets. Play. I'm telling you, every time he lined up against this guy, he shut him down. And this kid was probably the shortest, smallest cornerback out there, and which is why I think he wasn't getting a lot of buzz. But Chris Abrams, that kid is a baller. He's small. I think he's maybe like 5'8". No, sorry, not that's a little too short. Maybe like 5'10". I'm gonna give him 5'10". I'm actually gonna look that up. But this kid, man, Chris Abrams.
Okay.
This kid is a baller, and I've been talking about him since. I'm sorry?
5'11", 180.
he's taller than that. Man, he looks short in stature. He really does look short in stature. But he's a
why?
baller,
Because
right?
he's actually pretty thick though for that height. So that's probably why.
Yeah. So he's a good player, man. And Lad's not an easy guy to keep up with, but he was shutting him down, and he made me like, all right, like you can put hands on Lad, man, and he's putting hands on him and allowing him like getting him off his routes and stuff like that. And you got to do that with those kind of guys. So I think he's gonna be a really good slot corner. Somebody's gonna be really happy to have him. I feel like he's gonna have the type of career that Avonte Maddox gonna have, had as a slot corner. Somebody's gonna always get signed and have a good prominent role on a defense. So that's my guy right there. What do you think about Chris Ray?
I think he's a good football player. I think, like you said, I think he plays. He does. I think he's a good cover guy. I'm not sure he's always a willing tackler.
Yeah. I mean, what corner is? There's not a lot of corners that are, I mean, it's starting to that narrative is starting to change a little bit. That narrative is starting to change a little bit. Don't get me wrong. But there's not traditionally corners are not the best tacklers,
I do think that he's another zone guy that would fit good on some teams, so.
Yeah.
People love Lad McConkey, though. They love that guy.
They do. And don't get me wrong, he's a baller. He's a baller. Don't get me wrong. I think the hype is a little too much. Like he had a lot of first round grades. And remember, Ray, I said the only reason I think that he could hit the first round is because somebody like the Chiefs might be like, we might need a guy. But now that's what's the recent things that have been happening with Rasheed Rice. I feel like they're gonna try to go like a bigger guy, like a Leggett. So I mean, if they still have Rasheed Rice, I thought that pairing of Rasheed Rice and Lad. Now they still got Rasheed Rice as of now, but we don't know what's gonna happen with the suspension and the legal stuff. We don't know how that's gonna go. But anyway, if they don't have Rasheed Rice, if they have Rasheed Rice, I would be like Lad McConkey is probably the best fit for a Chiefs. But now that they might not have him, I think they might go a little bit bigger, a little bit more established kind of.
Plus, they have Hollywood Brown now, who has some speed. So if you had a guy with some size, that'd be a nice pairing. So.
Correct. Agreed. Yep. All right, who's your sleeper, Ray?
I have Kalen King from Penn State and Cam Hart from Notre Dame. I think that both guys will be taken early day 3, and both guys will probably find themselves as starting corners eventually.
So Cameron Hart, I like him a lot. I think that he's actually a real good sleeper. And again, elite class. So any other class, I'd be like, man, Kalen King. I'm sorry, Ray, I gotta disagree on that one. I mean, and maybe it was just a Senior Bowl thing. Some might have happened, but he was getting torched the entire Senior Bowl. And we were looking at him very closely because Sam's a Penn State guy, so all his Penn State guys we were kind of looking at closely. And I'm a DB guy, so I was like, Sam, man, I don't know if King's it, man. He's getting torched the entire Senior Bowl, and he, in my mind, I thought him mid-second, early third. I'm thinking like 5th round, 6th round. A guy
I have him late 4th, early 5th.
Okay.
I just think he's a guy that could play some zone corner for you and eventually find himself into a starting position. I think there's a lot of corners in this stretch that are going to be that same type of guy. They need to develop some, but they'll be okay.
He's going to need some development because he was, like I'm telling you, Ray, he just didn't look comfortable. And maybe that is a scheme thing and maybe he can get back to where he was when he was at Penn State. But I mean, as far as I seen, I was not impressed. I think he had a bad 40 time too, Ray. I think I was saying that too.
His 40 time was. I don't see that, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna look for you, Ray.
I got you. Right now. It does not say.
4.61.
Wow.
I know he didn't run that well. Yeah, I know he didn't run that well because I was saying that to Sam, who's probably gonna be on a podcast next week, by the way, during our draft. But I was telling Sam, I was like, "Ooh, Sam, King's not doing well right now. He didn't run well. He looked really bad at the Senior Bowl. It's not working out for him, man." And again, I had high hopes for him. I think he was one of the best corners in the league at some point. So I think that he now not a big fan of him anymore. Kind of lost the hype on him a little bit. We'll see. I hope that comes back. You never know. Guys come back from bad situations, but it wasn't looking right for me with that one. So sorry, Ray. I gotta disagree a little bit on that one. But to get small school guy, Ray.
I got Jarius Monroe from Tulane and Miles Harden from South Dakota State. Both
See,
guys that are like got pretty good size. Monroe's like 6 foot, 200 pounds. Harden is 5'10 ish, 195. I think that again, both will absolutely have to develop, get a little bit stronger, find what system they kind of fit. But again, smaller school guys, both draftable players though.
mhm. Yes, both draftable players. I don't have a small school guy, right? I was struggling on that. I couldn't find a guy that, because like there's so many corners and a lot of them are big time name school ones, and obviously I feel like the smallest one is the number one guy is Quennel Mitchell going to Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
I personally couldn't find nobody that I thought was worthy of saying a small school, because I mean there's Quintez Stinger. Actually, he's gonna get drafted. He was actually in the Canada. Is that Canada? The All Stars? Yeah, Toronto Argonauts. So he was in the Canadian League, and technically he's not. He didn't play college, so I didn't want to pick him. But I hear a lot of good things about him. He's a really good player. That had a family situation that he had to quit football on, and then wind up going back, playing really well at the Canadian League. For some reason, the NFL have him in the draft now, which is kind of odd because I don't think I've ever seen that before. But they have him going in the draft instead of being eligible to sign to a team. Um, but needless to say, yeah, I couldn't find nobody. So what I want to do instead of, since I couldn't find a small school guy, I just want to throw out some names that we didn't mention real quick, because I feel like I feel real weird not mentioning some of these guys. And one of them is Enos Strong, Ray Strong from Missouri. I mentioned his counterpart, really good player. Kamari Latner, right there as well. I think some people might have him as safety. Could be wrong on that.
There's a corner though.
Yeah. Jarvis Brown Lee played very well at the Senior Bowl. Want to put him out there. DJ James and Nehemiah Pickett, both two good cornerbacks from Auburn. Chu Smith Wade played really well at the Senior Bowl as well. So just wanted to throw some names out there that I thought you should have been at least mentioned in some kind of capacity. So I just want to throw their names out there. Any of those names I said real quick stands out to you, right? Sorry.
I think Wade is a again will be a slot corner, especially in the beginning, because he is only 5'9".
Yeah.
But again, it's a very deep class. There's a lot of kids that will be drafted and that they just find the right team.
100%. Yep, I agree. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's get to the safety position, Ray. Now I'm gonna say this: safety is not as deep as I initially thought. There's some good guys in there. I thought it was a lot deeper, and then when I really looked at it, it wasn't as deep. Maybe it might be deep for you, Ray, because you have Cooper DeJean as a safety, so that makes that class a little bit better. Actually, a lot better. But let's get right into it, Ray. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Javon Bauer from Georgia. 5'10", 200-pound kid. Nice player. Need him to be not that it like I don't think he's great in coverage, but I think he's solid in coverage. And that's why he's playing safety. So I mean, I think he's a good player. And I only have one 5. There's only not a 5A and a 5B. So I do think the safety class is okay. It's not special. So
correct. Yeah, and I actually think my list is gonna differ from most people. My list is kind of I've seen some other lists, some expert lists, and it was nowhere near what I had. So get ready. My number 5 guy is gonna be Cole Bishop from Utah. You guys know how much I like Utah. I've been watching Cole Bishop for a while. I think he's a really good safety. And yeah, I don't know why I just lost my train of thought, but coming in at 6'2", 209 pounds, really instinctive. I like his game. Will hit you, thump you. Utah always produce some good players. So I think that's really cool. Real quick, right before I let you go or comment on that. Breaking news 7 minutes ago, the Chargers just signed J.K. Dobbins to a 1-year deal. So just wanted to break that while we was on here. A little breaking news, nothing crazy, but something to think about. They really don't have a running back there, so that's really cool. And they're probably gonna have to sign draft a running back pretty high for them. Could be Corum. You never know. So maybe that's their plan. Maybe. So, just want to put that out there. But Ray, what do you think about Cole?
I'm a fan. I have him if I had a 5B, I would have went with Cole Bishop. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a very linear and explosive athlete for his size. I didn't want to go a 5A and a 5B. I didn't really want to do it with corners either. You kind of talked me into it. So
I did.
But I mean, I think that I will say this though. I have Bullard like here, like there, but I have Cole Bishop. They're very, very comparable grades. I have very close grades on both of them. So I could have very easily went a 5A and a 5B, or I could have put Bishop there and kept Bullard off. You know what I mean? I mean, it would have been fine either way. I think they're both going to be good players, though. So.
Yeah, Bishop, by the way, ran a 4.45.
Yeah,
so that helps as well.
And that speed kind of shows up too, which is always good. So
yes, it does. All right, let's get to your A. Yeah, let's get to your 4, Ray.
I have Bo Braid from Maryland as my number 4 guy. Got a very. I'm a really big fan. That Maryland team is a feisty defensive team, and I like their team. So I think what you're going to see is I think the difference in the safety and the corners is the top end of the safety class is pretty good. There's just not as the overall depth that you have a corner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. On that. My number 4 guy, Ray, I don't know if you heard about this guy. I'm really high on him. Malik Mufaya. I think I said his name. Mustafa. There you go. Mustafa. Malik Mustafa from Wake Forest. I like his game, Ray. Sorry? Mustafa. Yes. Really good player. Instincts are up there, man. And I'm telling you, when a safety have good instincts, that's always a great trait. And I think he has that. Didn't run his 40 at the combine. I think did he do it pro day? I don't see pro day. So
I don't see his time for him.
I think that was the biggest thing on him. I wanted to see his 40 time. I don't think I had it for his pro day. Let me see. 40 stats. Yeah, I don't see anything there as well. So that's gonna be the biggest thing about him. See how fast he is and what he did. Oh, okay. I think I got it. 4.52.
Yeah,
that's what they. 4.52.
Oh,
so not bad at all. I like it actually.
It's
That
good.
makes me feel a lot better about him. But I love his game. Very a good free safety if you want to put him there. I think he can do a little bit of both. He can hit you a little bit. He was playing at the Senior Bowl, so he did do some good stuff there. What's your thoughts on Mafa or Mustafa?
I'm a fan. I think he's a good football player. I think again, the top end of the class is pretty good. It's just don't have the depth. And Mustafa is a guy that like solid speed, willing tackler,
Mhm.
good football player.
Yes, really good tackler actually.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Wake
all
Forest,
right,
another team that has sneaky good defense.
they did. They did.
Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, Ray, who's your number three?
I have Cam Kitchens at number 3, and I could
Okay.
have had him at number 2. I mean, I could go either way with my 2 and 3. The only thing with Kitchens is I do think that he is an in-box safety. Best scheme fit for him because he does not have the overall speed to turn and
Mhm.
cover guys deep downfield, but is an instinctive player, can cover some running backs and tight ends, obviously. And I think where he's going to make his money is, again, instinctive, very good tackler.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I have him a little bit higher than you, Ray. But I'm gonna say that for later. All
Okay.
right, we were on three. My number three guy is your number five guy, which is Devin Bauer from Georgia. I'll be honest, he's outside of Brock Bowers. I think he's my favorite player on the Georgia team this year. Definitely a hard hitting guy, gonna come down, crash, and hit you. Trying to see what I got him on a 40 time. I have him as a 4.47. Very fast dude. Got a good body. At 5'10", 198. So Georgia guy, got to see him a little bit. Well, a lot down here being in Georgia. But yeah, he played very well. I think it said 12, 12 games. He had 56 tackles, a TFL, 2 interceptions, and 5 PVUs. He did miss 2 mid games due to an ankle injury. Obviously, he's doing a lot better now with doing the 40 and everything like that. Yeah, I think he's a baller, right? And I like him a little bit better than you do. But you know, these these 3 picks right here, I think I can kind of mix match them in my opinion. But I
Mhm.
like him a lot. All right, Ray, who you got in number two?
I have Tyler Newman from Minnesota at number 2.
Yep,
Again, a
same.
guy who's a willing tackler, who's got a pretty lean, strong type of build, fluid mover for his size. I think he's a good football player. And again, Minnesota's defense was pretty good last year, and he was a part of a pretty decent defense. So I'm a fan. Reminds me of
Same.
Javon Holland from Miami, from who went to Oregon. Same type of a player,
Nice.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. Your guy over there. Yeah, I agree. I got him in the same spot right here. A very good player. I don't think he tested at all at the combine. What I don't know if he did what's called it, but the guy that he felt like he'd been at Minnesota forever, right? I feel like every year he was always there. But a guy, a good leader, obviously. Actually, right. I'm not lying when I say this. He played in 2019. 19 was his first year.
Wow.
I'm not lying. So when I say that, I was just thinking like, man, I feel like he's been playing well. Yeah, he played since 2019. He played 2019, 2020, 2021, 22,
6
23.
seasons.
Huh?
6 seasons, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
Obviously, COVID year, and I think one of the years he got injured, if I'm not mistaken. So
one
that
was
held
an
him back.
injury year. You're right. One was an injury year, and the COVID year kind of messed up everybody. So
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, I like him a lot. I got him at 2 as well, Ray. I think he can definitely be a potential starter, and definitely do some great things for the team. All right, Ray. I know who your number one is. You can just announce it.
it's Cooper DeJean. I'm a fan. I think he's just a very good defensive back. I think that some team will probably want to try in the corner, but I think right away you play him in the slot. You use him as a multiple type of a safety corner or combo guy. And this is the way the league is going, man. Everybody's going to be playing 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 defensive backs, depending on how good the quarterbacks are. So I'm a big fan of Cooper DeJean. And I guess it depends on like whose draft board you're looking at, where they have them rated. You know what I mean? So
you're saying definitely no, I agree with that. My number one guy is going to be Cam Kitchens. Going into the Senior Bowl, he was my number one safety. I'm going to keep him there. The year before his neck injury, he had 6 interceptions. Now, he only ran a 4.65. I think that he's one of those game time speed guys. You know what I mean? That don't let that 4.65 fool you. He got very good instincts. He will hit you. He can do a little bit of everything. He said that. I got to interview him, by the way, at the Senior Bowl. And he said that he was like, I want to show that I can do everything. He want to show like I'm not just a box guy. I'm not just a deep safety. I do everything. I'll put me wherever I can do it. So I really did like that about him. Like I said, the year before his head and neck injury, he had 6 interceptions. So that tells me, hey, the speed is enough, and he's very instinctive. If you don't have the speed at safety, you gotta be at least instinctive and at least get back there fast enough so that you can get those picks and things like that. You don't always have to be the fastest safety. It does help. Don't get me wrong. Make speed is a thing, but if you don't have that, you gotta at least be instinctive, and I think he has that. So I don't think the speed is gonna be an issue with him playing back there. Either way, however you wanted to. Put him at cover 2. I think that'd be great for him as well as if you're a base cover 2 safety. I think you could do a lot with him. Or if you want to put him, a little bit more in the box, he'll do that as well. He had a lot of tackles this year as well. Good kid. I like his aggressiveness. But yeah, he's a dude to me. I like him. There, my favorite guy. Real quick, I wanted to say this too. Our favorite guy, Lance Zierlein. He has Cam Kitchens compared to Jawan Thornhill, who was a deep safety for Kansas City. So he got him compared to him. As far as Ballard, he got Josh Metellus. I don't know if I like that. And then Bishop, he don't have one for Bishop. And who was the other guy? Forget. There's another guy. Oh, Newman. Hold on, let me look that up again because Newman was the one that actually caught my eye when we were talking about him. He has him compared to Marcus Williams. I actually kind of like that one though.
Yeah.
What you thought?
No, I'm a fan. I think he's a good player. I actually gave Cam Kitchen. Remember Darnell Savage that played for Green Bay?
Yeah.
He reminds me of Kitchens, like smarter. A little bit of everything. Very instinctive. Tackle guys. Did some nice things in coverage. Was not a liability. And I think I have Newman and Kitchens with a very similar grade. I just think that Newman is a little bit taller. Gave him maybe a little bit faster. Again, I would take any one of my top 5s, or even I can go to like 10 safeties, and I think those guys are all going to be starting type safeties like fairly early on. I just don't see a lot of depth. Like guy I know that I think are okay, these guys are definitely going to be good players. I mean, and a lot of it we know after you get down the first 10, 15 guys is who can help out on special teams. So.
Yep, I agree. All right, Ray, let's get into our sleepers. Who you got there, Ray?
I have Josh Proctor from Ohio State and Sion Vake from Utah.
Yes, he did it. Let's go. I love it. Go ahead. I'll let you
go. Proctor, I think, is a nice mixture of size and fairly not fast, but solid speed. Good willing tackler. Played at Ohio State, so he played at a nice program. good football player. And I'm a Vaki fan. I think he's physical. I think he's a good tackler. He's a smart kid. I guess you like Utah. I forgot you like Utah.
I love me some Vaki, bro. I love him.
No, I'm a fan. I think he's a good player. He's one of them guys that you can see as a hybrid, maybe a guy that come down and play some linebacker for you even.
Mm-hmm. You know? Yep. 100%. Yeah, he brings that power, and like both I like both guys, and both guys we did interview at the Senior Bowl. Vaki very, very, I mean, dude, we had a lot of good players that we interviewed. Really cool guys, you know, some funny guys. Brandon Rice was the one that stood out to me because he was a freaking character out there. But as far as favorite guy based on his personality, it would be Vaki. That dude was so respectful. He was so nice. Like you could tell he was raised the right way. Vaki. I like Vaki before. Just speaking to him makes me like draft him right now. He's really nice guy. So let me kind of walk through this situation with this interview. I didn't post this interview yet. I'm still gonna post it. It's just very short because they rushed me off the field. So Vaki was there. I was waiting patiently for him to interview him because he was getting interviewed by somebody else. And as the horn went, and I was like, "Hey, Vaki, I want to interview." There's a horn that goes off, as you know, for media get off the field. And I'm like, "Dang, man, sorry, Vaki, whatever." And he was like, "No, man, let's, it's okay. Like, let's get the interview." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I started interviewing him. As I was interviewing him, one of the security guards, like in the middle of our conversation, he was like, "Hey, gotta go." So like, I literally cut it short. I maybe asked him 2 or 3 questions. And he was very respectful. He was like, "Thanks, man, appreciate you." Like he thanked me for the interview. Like he was like, "Thank you," blah blah blah. And I'm about to get off the field, and then next thing you know, this guy's like, "Hey," to me, and I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, "What's going on?" It was his agent. His agent was like, "Hey, here's my card. I'm Vaki's agent. He told me what happened. Message me if you want to interview him later on." I never got to do that, but that just shows me a lot right there. Like he got his agent.
You don't understand. These Polynesian kids are good kids, man. They really are. They are really just dedicated to football, man, and that's really all they care about.
I agree. So that right there, man. I hope the best success for him. I know a lot of people don't know him, and it's not just the personality thing. I know, like, hey, you can have your heartstrings because a player did this and that, but he's a good player too. He's a really good player. So that's why I was really happy.
You see a guy that led his team, like he was the top 2 guys in team in tackles, top 2 guys in interceptions. Like he's just that guy on that team, and you put him in the right defense, and he's going to thrive. I would guarantee it.
I agree. So I'm glad that you have him as sleeper. He's one of my sleepers as well. I also have Evan Williams, right? Safety from Oregon. He turned a lot of heads for me. I'm a guy that there's what was the corner that had a lot of interceptions there? Smith Wallace, or I believe his name is. Wait, sorry. He had 2 interceptions as well. Yeah, he had 2 interceptions in that game. But Evan Williams, being at the Senior Bowl game, during practice, his name wasn't really out there that much. I heard he did make a few plays, but it wasn't like a whole bunch of like, "Oh man, we gotta like, oh my god, this guy did amazing." I feel like he's gonna be one of those gamer guys, the guys that just do super well during the games. Kind of like what's his name? Shoot. And I'm not comparing him to this player, but Reed Blankenship, who's a guy that during practices you don't really see it as much, but then during games you're just like, "Who is this kid?" Like, kind of pops out of nowhere. That was Evan. He was all over the field. He had an interception. I think he almost had 2. No, I know he almost had 2. I don't think he had 2, but I think he almost had 2. Very instinctive player. I ain't going to look at his speed because I don't know what he ran, but I think that was like I I think that was the biggest knock on him because he didn't seem like a speedy guy. But I like him a lot. What's your thoughts on Evan Williams, Ray?
I'm a fan too. I think the Oregon safeties are usually good football players, man. They kind of just have a spot where they play a lot
Oregon,
of four,
Oregon, not Oregon State.
Oregon. I said Oregon.
They say Oregon State. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They said they have Oregon just seems to have a lot of good defensive backs coming out of their team the last couple of years, and he's just another one. And they kind of play quarter defense with their system, so they do ask their corners. I mean, their safeties to cover. They ask their corners to cover, obviously, but they ask their safeties to do some stuff in coverage. Again, I think he's a guy that if he can excel in special teams, will probably be playing pretty early on. So
definitely, yeah. Big guy. He ran a 4.6 at the combine, 4.6 flat. So not super speedy, not slow. That's not a slow speed though.
No.
But he's big built, like upper body really built guy. So he looked like more of a thumper, but he can get back there, and like I said, he had some interceptions during the Senior Bowl. So I like him. I think he's a good player. And I think he got potential to do some things in the NFL as well. So
yeah.
All right. So let's get to our last one, which are small school. So Ray, who's your small school guy?
I have Trey Taylor from Air Force, and I have Trey Fluellen from Middle Tennessee State. Taylor could actually be the first defensive back ever drafted from Air Force, and I'm a big fan. The kid's a ball hawk, smart. Of course, when all the cadet guys, man, they're all well trained, very physical type of football players, and I'm a fan of Trey Taylor. I'm interested to see what team does reach out and take him. I mean, he's a 6th round player, but again, a nice, very guy who did again was a good tackler, solid in coverage, did a lot of good things for Air Force. And Fluellen is a 6 foot, 210-pound kid. Again, did a lot of good things. A good tackler. They don't ask their safeties to cover there, really. They just want them to play closer to the line of scrimmage because a lot of teams, as them smaller teams, actually run the ball a little bit more. So,
100%. Yeah, I agree with. I like both those guys, right? Not. I don't know too much about the what was the Army guy? You said
Trey Taylor from Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force. There you go. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with him, so maybe I can look at some tape on him later on. That's why he's a small school guy, Like us understand who they are. But my small school guy is going to be a guy from Jacksonville State. Is going to be Jeremiah Harris, safety. He's 5'10", 195. He was redshirt sophomore. Actually from Alabama, which is pretty cool. Physical guy. Will tackle you. Got some decent sack numbers. Interception numbers. I think he had a total of 4. 2 of them coming last year. So I know that's the part that gets people eyes on him a little bit more. Small school guy that can come in and contribute. Might be a guy that you can have him do some rotational stuff, special team guy. But I really like him. I would like to see his 40 time because I did not see his 40 time. Let's see if I can find that. But what do you know about Jeremiah Harris, right?
I think he's a good solid player, Jerome. I'm trying to see times for him and anything else, any information I can find on him, but I don't see a whole lot right now. Just that he's a fairly tall kid and has some nice length to him.
4'7". Well, okay, they're giving it a range. I don't think that's official. Yeah, it's a projected 4'7" to that. So
yeah,
that's
unless you know that's unless you know that time is real, I wouldn't put that out there.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Doing a kid disservice if it's not real. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't think that's right. Yeah, I don't think that's right.
I mean,
so
there's only 3 ways to impress people: film work, body of work, and how fast you are.
Yep.
I mean, that's it, man.
I have another one that's saying he's ran a 4.54. So
and that would make more sense because that's what it looks like.
That makes more sense. Yes.
Yeah. So. I mean, where do you come up with 4? Anytime you say somebody's running a 4.7 or anything close to that, people are like, and I know it's not right because there's like Kyron Williams for Notre Dame, the running back, ran a 4.7.
Yeah.
But he led the Rams in rushing last year, so it doesn't matter. Okay.
Dude, you know how big I was on him, and I was so disappointed that his 40 time looked like that. I'm like, they're not gonna draft this guy that high.
He is, and they didn't draft him high. I think he's like a 4th or 5th round pick. Pretty sure it's a 5th round pick.
He was way before that. I think he was 5th or 6th, wasn't he?
I think it was I think it was a 5th round pick.
Can you remind his name? I'm blanking right now.
Kyron Williams. Kyron
Williams. He was why I can't find it. There you go, 5th round.
5th round.
Yep. I thought so.
You know what? You get a 5th round pick to lead your team in rushing. That's a steal.
Oh yeah. I mean, Pacheco was a 7th round, so
you know what, Jerome? This is the problem. If you watch Kyron Williams play, he looked way faster than that. He blocks. He catches the ball. So maybe his skill level, his skill set should have been a little bit more important than just flat out speed, you know?
Correct. And you know what? Some people just maybe can't run that 40 that well, you know? It's so much technique that goes into that.
Yes, absolutely. Some guys just they run that 40 and they're like, I know I'm not going to run that great, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like, but, you know, man, Kyron Williams is a football player. Was a good football player at Notre Dame. And so far has been a very good pro. So we'll see.
I agree. I very much agree. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up our safeties today, right? Any football stuff you want to talk about? Draft stuff before we get to.
Well, to be honest with you, I would say this: if you are looking for good draft content, of course, I would suggest you listen to me and Jerome and anything else that we have on this station, please. But if you were looking for, I love Daniel Jeremiah. I think he's very good. And me and Jerome were talking before we came on. For people that don't know who Jordan Reed is, figure it out. Kid's amazing. He gives you some of the best draft analysis of anybody in football who's been doing it for a very short time. He's going to be a budding star. He gives good analysis. He gives you a good opinion. He speaks well. He's the total package. So I am a huge Jordan Reed fan of a guy who's younger, who's really kind of just getting his name, you know, and his reputation about him. But I listen to him whenever I can. I would suggest, again, if you want to hear good content, listen to Jordan Reed because the kid's really good.
100%. I got to meet him at the Senior Bowl. Kind of wish I took a picture with him, but I don't always do that with these guys. You know, try not to make it weird sometimes. But I did go up to him. I had to. He was just kind of standing there by himself. So kind of went up to him and was like, "Hey, Jordan, you know, I just wanted to let you know you're doing some great stuff, man." He was like, "Thank you." He was like, "Listen, anything you need from me, let me know." He literally said that to me. So great guy, seemed like a really good guy, but he knows his stuff. He really does know his stuff. And I've been following Twitter. He is the only draft guy actually, you know how you have that notification thing, you could put your notifications on for everybody's thing. I think he's the only draft analyst that I have doing that. Like usually I have like, you know, what's his name, you know, the Adam Scheffler. I have guys like that, the breaking news guys. I have those type of guys, you know, but he's the only other draft guy that I have my notifications on for him. So that tells you a lot. That tells you that, you know, I think that he's a really good dude. So
No, I'm a big fan. I've listened to him for the last couple of years, and I always listen to guys that give me like what seems to be like an unbiased opinion. He I heard him do an interview, and he was talking pretty well. He talked well about Notre Dame, which I like, of course. But he just gave everybody he spoke about. You could tell he was giving you a very, very good opinion, and wasn't really trying to dig at anybody. Just really was giving you I don't like it when guys give like backhanded compliments to people, and it's like, dude, what are you doing that for? Like Jordan Reed is very good, and I've always been a Daniel Jeremiah fan. I think the guy does his homework. So,
100%, 100%. Yeah, he definitely studies his things, and you could tell he's very well educated with it. So, definitely. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I'm excited for next week, man. We're gonna have a 4-man panel again to do the draft. I think we're gonna have a special guest. I'm trying to decide if or figure out if you're gonna be on there. Maybe we might do a 5-man. I mean, I don't know how crazy that will be, and we never did a 5-man before. We'll see. If I get my special guest on, maybe I might just be the commentator and things like that. But we'll see. I never did a 5-man draft. That could be a possibility too. That may be crazy. Actually, you know what? We might do that.
Yeah, I forget. I remember one time we did do at least 4 guys.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we always do 4. I think that's like our main.
It was me, that Jacob kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't remember who the other 2, but there was at least 2 other guys. I think Chris may have been one too.
I don't think Chris been on with us for that. I don't think
there was at least 4 guys though. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
I mean, I could probably go back and look. I mean, I have notebooks. Yeah. It's crazy.
You keep notebooks that far back?
I have notebook notes from '96.
Dude, that's so. I gotta come. Oh, right. I'm coming to. I'm coming to Jersey. I'm coming to Jersey. So
I know.
When I come to Jersey, we gotta look at. You gotta see. Let me see some of this stuff.
You got it, man. I got
Remind me to give you this too.
We'll do.
Your little bobblehead.
There you go. When are you coming, Drum? Do you know that for sure?
May 5th. Well, either May 5th or May 6th. One of those.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So that's gonna be cool, man. Come back to Jersey, see all my people for sure.
There you go, man. Sounds good.
100%. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. Again, next week we're gonna be doing a mock draft the night before the actual draft. So please make sure you come check us out. I believe we're doing a live draft feed that we do every year as well. So you can watch the first round when it come up. If you don't like hearing all the hoopla, blah blah blah, some people don't like listening to those guys. Come to us, man. We got some cool analysis. You can put your comments in and everything like that as well. Let us know how your reaction is. One of my favorite moments when we did our draft thing was when the New York Giants selected Daniel Jones and literally had me run out the building.
That was one of my favorite drafts of all time, dude. It was so much fun.
For one,
Miami took Christian Wilkins, which was a good pick.
Yeah. Yes.
The Giants screwed everybody up by taking Daniel Jones with the second pick. And if you remember, the big question was, where are all them defensive linemen from Clemson going to fall? And everyone, bing, bing, bing. And me and Ryan had a bet on a couple of them. And
Cleveland Fleur going the first one.
He was the first one. Yep.
Yeah, that was
the big nose tackle from the Giants. If you remember,
Dexter Lawrence.
I remember telling people, I think Dexter Lawrence could go like middle of the end of the first round. I do, because he's that one guy who could truly be, if you play a 3-4 defense, he's a 0 or a 1 tech guy who could do that for you. And he went, I think it was a 17th pick. Yeah, which was way too early for that guy. But
it was.
But
it worked out. Hey,
you remember that was the same draft that Josh Allen from Jacksonville came out. And I was a huge Josh Allen fan. But I remember betting somebody that Cleveland Farrell will be taken first because Josh Allen was a projection because he had never played with his hand in the dirt.
Yeah.
And Clelin Ferrell was a guy even though he was an underachiever, he had a lot of very good game film playing at Clemson.
He did. But look who's unknown now, and look who just got a big contract.
Oh, if you remember that 2 years before the draft, I loved Josh Allen, dude. And I told Ryan and them at that time he was only 230 pounds. I said, dude, this guy in a couple years is going to be really, really good. And kid's good, man.
Yeah, he is. He's
very good.
So,
I do think that you need to play him, let him freelance a little bit. You don't want to just put his head in the dirt all the time, but he's very good, man. If you play him in the right way, Jacksonville's a weird team for me right now, dude, because I don't know what to think about them. I was really, really encouraged by how they played 2 years ago in the playoffs. And last year they kind of regressed a little bit. So
I agree, and we're gonna have to. I think this is the kind of make or break year for Trevor Lawrence. You know,
it is.
Now that don't mean they're gonna necessarily move on from him next year, but it's gonna tell you a lot about him next year for sure.
They won't move on from him, but it's okay. Now we got to think: do we want to pick up the 5th-year option on him? Mm-hmm. And if we don't, then it puts us in a Daniel Jones situation where if he plays really well that 4th year, now I'm really in a sticky situation. I would suggest one thing for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor, you're very talented. Dude, put on some friggin' muscle.
Hey, he might do it.
Man, we all know he's talented. The problem is, can he do the little things that it takes to be a great NFL quarterback?
Yeah, he's an interesting one because I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's good either. You get what I'm saying? Like he has moments.
He's too up and down.
Yeah.
He's up 1 week, he's down next week. He's up 1 week. You don't have to be great every week, but you have to be even keel. Donovan McNabb, you don't have to be great every week. You have to make the plays that are there and make sure you keep chugging along and you don't regress.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure.
Remember Mark Sanchez his first couple years in the league looked like he was going to be a good player. And then all of a sudden he just lost it, man.
When? What year did he look like he's gonna be a good player?
The year he took his team to the NFC Championship.
I seen
the year that he took the team to the AFC Championship. 2 years in a row, I believe. Was that?
I think it was okay. He looked like Brock Purdy to me. How Brock Purdy looks. He looks okay still.
Brock Purdy's made a lot of money in 2 years, dude.
He is, but also I feel like they both was in the same situation where they had really good defense.
No, get me wrong. That Jets team was a good team.
Mm-hmm. The difference between the two is like Mark Sanchez regressed. Now you can stay in that Brock Purdy stage, but you gotta be consistent with it.
Well, that's
we've seen a couple of games this year where Brock Purdy didn't look that great, you know? If he keeps doing that, then you're gonna be like, I think I spent too much money on him.
He
gotta keep away those two. He had 2 really bad games this year. And it's okay to have bad games. Bad games happen. But you're not that
Lamar Jackson had a really only like one really bad game, but it was only the biggest game of the year. So, you know.
How did we get on Lamar Jackson again? All right, we're gonna shut this down at this point, guys.
But you are right about one thing, Jerome. It is about finding consistency for sure.
100%. So, but that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Again, hope you enjoyed. If you want to help and support us, right here is where you can do that. That's QR code right behind me, and the same one is right under Ray. If you can point to that, Ray. Thank you.
Right there.
Right over there. Scan that. Follow us. Make sure you follow us on all our platforms. We got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and YouTube. And on YouTube, that supports us the most. So please do that. Subscribe. Like this video if you did like it. Also, make sure that you put that notification button on so you can know when we go live. We go live with 3 different podcasts, so make sure you check that out. Again, next week we're gonna go live for the draft, and we're gonna have our mock draft the night before. So make sure you stay locked in with that. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts right over there. Thank you guys so much. Hope y'all enjoy. Just 7 more days to that draft, baby, and we are there. So I'm excited. I can't wait, and I hope you can as well. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe, and see you draft. I'm about to say draft night, but pre-draft. What's the word? Post? No. What's the Christmas or what's the day? Eve. There you go. Draft Eve. There you go. That's what we're looking for. See you draft Eve, guys. Peace.